Good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Thursday, March 11th, 2021. And our top stories today, Travel 2021, preparing yourself for a very different travel experience, and gas prices are on the rise and maximizing your travel experience. Well, joining me now to discuss this and a lot more is Jeanette Castellano-McGee of AAA. Jeanette, always great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Yeah, as always, thank you for having us.
Well, Jeanette, it's always great to talk to you in AAA, and I know you recently put out a travel advisory. And what can we expect when we begin traveling in 2021?
Yeah, Americans are excited. They've got the vaccinations that are becoming more widely available. Spring and summer is just around the bend, and people want to get back out there and travel. They want to see family and friends. We definitely haven't been able to do that in the past year. So as we approach spring and definitely summer, we know we're going to be hitting the road. Some things have changed since last summer in terms of restrictions, but a lot of things are really still the same. Some states have begun to lift some mandates in terms of masks or some restrictions in terms of dining. But overall, the bottom line is you still have to plan before you leave. And that research is going to be, like we say, more important than ever. You just don't want any surprises before you get to your final destination.
Jeanette, there are a lot of different rules depending on what state you live in and what state you're traveling to. For example, Texas, Mississippi, they've lifted some of their mask requirements. But AAA has a heat map or a map on its website that tracks all of this, doesn't it?
Yeah, our travel restriction map that can be found at triptix.aaa.com. This is a tool we have given to consumers since early on in the pandemic. It can help you navigate not just how you're going to get, TripTix can help you navigate not just how you're going to get from point A to point B and where you're going to stop, but the COVID map will inform, or the COVID restriction maps will inform you in terms of what attractions are opened, what's closed, what are some of the requirements in place for that state or that city that you're traveling to. So we definitely recommend checking out the COVID-19 restrictions map off of triptix.aaa.com. It's a fantastic resource. We've seen our website traffic increase, especially around peak times of travel. So we know people are using it, and it's a resource that they trust coming from AAA.
Thanks, Jeanette. And in terms of masks, my wife and I, we have multiple masks, some of them that we are able to wash, some of them that we just dispose of. Is it a good idea to keep with you masks, sanitizer, other things that would kind of protect you regardless of where you're traveling?
Masks and disinfectant wipes are still at the top of the list in terms of packing when you're hitting the road or you're traveling. Even if a state doesn't require it, you may be traveling through other states that do. And even if a state doesn't require it, that doesn't mean you don't have to wear it. It's your personal decision. We definitely recommend checking with the CDC and what they recommend in terms of wearing masks, and that's still to wear it and social distance and continue to wash your hands no matter where you are.
Thanks, Jeanette. One of the big parts of the travel industry that has been hit hardest are hotels, hotel workers, and just hotels in general, because there hasn't been a lot of traveling. What are some words of wisdom when you're getting out there, going to be staying in a hotel? What kind of research do you need to do?
Of course, you want to be concerned about or understand what they're doing in terms of cleanliness and social distancing. What's open, what's not inside of a hotel. So some restaurants may have restaurants open, or it may just be in-room dining. If restaurants are open, it's probably at a reduced capacity, and buffets may not be available. So while you're, checking out the different hotels that are available to you wherever you're going, you're reading a lot of information online. But be sure to call that hotel too to confirm what you understand. What is the check-in process like? It may just be on your phone. It may not be a face-to-face thing. Are there hand sanitizing stations throughout? Like I said, are there amenities that are open, like the pool, like the fitness studio, the delivery of food to your room, in-room dining? Are those things available? So what you're reading, you're going to understand some information, but it's best to call and confirm that information. So again, there are no surprises before you get there.
Jeanette, every time I think of AAA, for some reason, I always think of Clark Griswold and vacation. That's not a knock, that's a compliment. But what about getting on an airplane. What about traveling domestically? Let's first tackle domestic travel, but then let's talk about what it means to travel internationally on an airplane.
Yeah, so whether you're getting on a plane or a bus, there are mandates that you do have to wear masks. So make sure you understand that before you're arriving at the airport or getting to a bus terminal. On planes, while you're on a flight, that doesn't mean that all the amenities are available to you. There may not be in-flight services in terms of beverages and food. So again, read and understand what's being offered to you before you're getting on the flight. If you're traveling internationally and coming back expect when you come back to the United States, that you're going to have to show a negative COVID test to return to the United States. This is across the board, no matter what airline you're traveling, it's a mandate from the United States. So again, if you decide to travel internationally, you need to know that and understand how you can be tested before you come back to the US to show that negative test.
And Jeanette, many countries, some are still shuttered, some still not allowing American tourists. What about international travel? Where does that stand?
Correct. Yeah. Just like in the United States, as things are shifting day to day per state, per county, it's the same thing internationally. So if you're going to plan to travel internationally, our best piece of advice is to talk to a travel agent. They can help you navigate through what's open, what's closed, domestically and internationally. They can help you understand if you need that negative COVID test, how to get it, or help you arrange for it. They can help you understand if you have to make any last minute changes, what's available to you. And more importantly, they can walk you through travel insurance options. And if you're taking that international trip, that's definitely something you're going to want to consider this year and moving forward. When we travel internationally, that's usually big ticket items. Those are things we want to invest. So a travel agent is a great resource that we highly recommend for those big ticket purchases for travel.
Jeanette, what about cruise lines? A lot of people out there like to go on a cruise. I often think about the Love Boat. Maybe that's not a great example, but when you get on a cruise, I would assume you got to take the same steps. Make sure your hands are sanitized. Make sure your room is clean. But are cruise lines taking bookings now actively?
Cruising, whether it's getting on a cruise, a plane, a train, an automobile, everything, at least at the foundation, we need to keep in mind, right? It's wearing your mask, it's social distancing, it's cleanliness. These are all things we need to consider. While some cruises are happening around the world, CDC still recommends that Americans push off any cruise for now. But that doesn't mean you can't explore cruises for down the road. We are seeing many of our members continue to book cruises further out. Many people love to cruise. It is a passion of theirs. So if that is something that you're interested in, again, talk to a travel agent because they can really navigate you through that whole process.
Well, thanks, Jeanette. I'm going to take a very quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about the rising gas prices and investing in those memories from your vacation. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're talking to Jeanette Castellano-McGee of AAA. Jeanette, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
Yeah. You know, travel is a big hot topic, and I know you want to talk gas prices, and they are expensive. So, let's talk about them.
Yes, let's talk gas prices, Jeanette. I've been taking a ride. I live in Charlotte now, as you know, and I've been taking a ride since we first moved here in October. Gas prices were down significantly, under $2. Now I've seen them begin to really creep up closer to $2.59. What's the status of gas prices here in the U.S.?
For the immediate future, more expensive gas prices are here to stay. We've seen prices start to increase at the end of November, around the time that we heard the positive news about vaccinations being available. That has impacted crude oil prices and made those more expensive. Crude accounts for about a little more than 50% of the price at the pump. So when crude increases, so does your price at the pump. But most recently, especially in the past 2 to 3 weeks, we've seen noticeable spikes at the pump. And a lot of that directly correlates back to the Texas winter storm that we saw in mid-February. That took down or took offline 26 refineries, about a third of the refineries in the United States. When you have that much production offline, it's going to impact prices at the pump because we're shrinking our supply or we're tightening our supply. Not that we're going to run out of supply. There's plenty of supply in the United States, but it's tightening. And those refineries have started to come back online, but not at full capacity. In fact, in last week's EIA's latest report on refinery utilization, we were at the lowest recorded rate ever on record. So as those refineries come back online, we'll see some relief. But right now, we saw crude oil prices spike at the end of last week. So more expensive crude oil prices, tightening supply means you're paying more at the pump.
Thanks, Jeanette. And, it's not only cars that use gasoline, it's airplanes, it's other means of travel that use gasoline. People certainly need to think about that. Could we possibly see around Memorial Day a drop of prices like we typically do, or might this be like 2020 and 2021 where we just don't know what things are going to happen in terms of gas?
Yeah, I would love to have a crystal ball and give you exactly what the price will be, but of course that's not possible. So today's average, we're about $2.79. Americans can expect that to hit as high as $2.90 this spring, especially March. We do think March could potentially be the most expensive month of the year. That's great news, right? Let's go ahead, get through March, pay the most expensive prices, and then, as I said, March is coming in like a lion and out like a lamb. So as we get closer to summer, we do expect to see some relief at the pump. That doesn't mean we're going to see those less than $2 a gallon prices. Those definitely aren't returning anytime soon. But could prices get down to the national average, that is, get down to $2.70 or so? It is a possibility. What's going to determine that is going to be these current crude oil prices, how fast these refineries come back online and we're able to get a more ample supply in the United States. But then it's also going to see what happens to demand with the summer. We know there are going to be more people traveling than 2020, but likely not nearly as many as 2019 and before. So while we're going to see demand increase, it's not going to be typical demand numbers that would usually drive up gas prices. So $2.90, we're expecting throughout this month, maybe early April, come down after that. But time will tell, and we'll see. But I mean, I think the bottom line is we can expect these more expensive gas prices for the immediate future.
Thanks, Jeanette. One of the great things about travel is you're investing in memories. When you go on vacation with family, friends, relatives, you have a great time, you're investing in those memories. What are some great tips to maximize that experience?
It's all about research and planning. Knowing not just what's open and closed or what's restricted because of COVID-19, but being able to plan your day, or at least plan part of your trip or the things you want to do on your trip so that you can have a good experience. So we always recommend read, research, do all that. Talk to a travel agent. They can help you put itineraries together. But that's your best resource. If you want to maximize your trip, it's about knowing what's going to make your trip memorable or successful when you get back home, those memories that you want. The last thing you want to do is have the memory that we didn't do X, Y, and Z. We did this, we did that, we got to do this, and we had a wonderful time. And it's interesting when you say maximizing trips. We've talked to people, shifting a little bit to gas prices, is that when gas prices get more expensive, they're kind of upping towards that $3 mark. What does that mean for your travel vacation? Are you not going to take that road trip? And the answer is no. I'm going to continue to take that road trip. I'm going to see the things I want to see and enjoy my experience, but I'm probably going to cut back on the number of days I go, or I'm not going to travel nearly as far because of gas prices, or we're going to bring our food and eat in instead of eating out. So people are going to take their vacations, whether there's COVID, they're going to plan appropriately, or if they're more expensive gas prices, they're going to plan around that. It's just spring and summertime, especially for the year we've had, we know people are going to have more confidence in travel, especially as the vaccine becomes more widely available. It's just important to remember that COVID's still here and that we need to take appropriate actions so that we're safeguarding ourselves.
Jeanette, a lot of us use travel websites like Expedia and others. I don't want to leave anyone out, of course, but travel websites have become more and more popular when planning trips. But I don't want to leave out the travel advisor. He or she may have a very important role to play in light of this pandemic, don't you think?
Yeah, they're an advisor. Many of these travel agents have been to the places you're looking to go. So they have had the on-the-ground experience and can navigate you through planning your trip. It's also someone you can call in the event something happens during your trip, and they can help navigate you out of a situation. They were extremely vital early on in COVID, when COVID was first introduced about a year ago, when people had tons of trips planned for spring break and into summer, or they were already abroad and didn't know how to get home. Those travel agents were pivotal in helping those people, those travelers, and they're going to continue to be pivotal as we embrace COVID-19, and with or without the vaccinations, people are going to have questions. And, it gives you a sense of security and a sense of mind that necessarily booking online doesn't. And AAA.com can do a lot of those things that you just said that other travel websites can't do. So why not talk to a AAA travel advisor as well as AAA.com and have that trusted brand of AAA behind you to plan your trip?
Well, we're going to have to leave it there. Jeanette Castellano-McGee of AAA, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thanks for having me, and let me know where you end up going for the summer.
And that wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to? Then drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the information in retirement markets, technology, personal finance, so much more, all in one place, check out our website and also our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. We're back again tomorrow. So until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a tax doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.